Hey everybody, welcome back to our episode of FSi DFS Fantasy Baseball Picks. I'm your Smuggler 31. Got a little 5-game slate here. Afternoon baseball on Wednesday. It's going to start at 12:10 p.m. or p.m. Yes, p.m. That's correct. So a little bit afternoon here. So it's not like a 1 o'clock start. So don't miss it. And no weather concerns. So let's just get into this. So unfortunately, the problem is there's no really decent options, I feel, for cheap pitching. So I think we have to pay up there and figure out how we can get the value backs in. So first one, we have Rockies at the Marlins, Peter Lambert and Cabrera. I think Cabrera is probably a top pitcher on the slate against the Rockies team that struggles. So definitely like him there. And Lambert, he's one of the cheap options that we potentially have, but he just hasn't put up more than like 10 DK points. He's not the worst pitcher on the slate, but let's see here. He's only gone like 2 or 3 innings at most. Like sometimes not even making out one. So it's almost like a glorified opener size. I really don't think I can do that. If he was 4K maybe, but 5.8, no. So Rockies bats are definitely going to be contrarian. Marlins bats, definitely like as cheap fill-in options, just like we did yesterday. Yankees and Baltimore. It is going to be 94 degrees in Baltimore. It is hot down there. It is great hitting weather. It is sunny and the wind is blowing out 8 miles per hour and should lead to some offense. So the one thing I don't understand is the Yankees have a 4.75 goal and they put up a couple runs, but this series really has been low scoring. It has been like the pitching has been good and the bullpens are decent here. So I just don't kind of see where uh, these totals are coming from. Maybe it's the weather and everything. It might be at the under 9, but we'll see on that one. So we have Carlos Rodon, who definitely has a tough matchup against a really good Baltimore team. And so, but I think he's got to be in play on the slate, and he has looked good in his last couple starts. And you have Kyle Bradish coming back from the IL. He had some soreness in his UCL. He didn't have to go through a Tommy John surgery or anything like that. In the spring, it was a strain, nothing major. So he worked it out. He actually pitched 3 minor league starts before he came here. His last one, he went 77 pitches, like over, I think like 50 of them were strikes. So he's throwing strikes. He had 5 strikeouts, only gave up 1 run. He looks decent. So don't know how deep he's going to go in this game. So I think he's more of a GPP than a cash play. So I'll have to keep an eye on that. But if you see something on X, Twitter, or any blogs that say that he's good to go and that there's like no restrictions or anything on him, hey, again, it's a hard matchup against the Yankees, but the Yankees really haven't been hitting here. And besides Soto, who's been super solid all season long, he's Bradish has been really good against righties and lefties, but I could see some strikeouts there against Volpe and Judge and Stanton and Torres. And I'm not really scared a ton of Rizzo. I think Wells had a home run last night, uh, or maybe it's the night before, but and Cabrera hit a weird home run. It was like in the corner and just barely went into the wall. So uh, the Yankees lineup just is good, but I don't feel like the Orioles have a better lineup. So I think Bradish definitely could be potentially sneaky here. People are like not trusting him coming back. Again, I'm not sure if it's a cash play in the context of the slate not having many options. You might have to work them in and take a chance there. The Cubs and the Mets, winds blowing out 9 miles per hour, 78 degrees, so decent hitting weather at Met Stadium. Is more of a pitcher's park, so even though the wind's blowing out, that helps it, but it's not like it's blowing if it was blowing on Course or Chicago or some of the other parks where it's really going to magnify runs. So you have Ben Brown, who, again, if you're taking a shot on a cheaper pitcher, he might be the option here. He's 73. So I mean, it's a lot more expensive than I want to pay. He started early in the season. He had a couple of decent outings where he at least scored over like 15 DK points. So he faced Colorado, he faced San Diego at San Diego, and he faced Arizona. So some decent offense there. His first start against Texas was horrible. He only made an inning and a little over an inning and gave up 6 runs. But after that, he calmed down. He went into the bullpen for the last 3 games, and his last one was kind of rough against Boston, but that was the game that they were up they put up 17 runs. So I think it was, you know, they were just kind of giving up on the game, but he still had 4 strikeouts. They just left him out there a long time. But he's averaging like 4 to 5 strikeouts to start there. So yeah, again, really no great options in the lower range here. So I mean, it's somebody on a 5 game slate that you might want to take a chance on. Adrian Hauser is not the one. He is giving up runs left and right like it's going out of style from the left side of the play, from the right side of the play. It doesn't matter. So Cubs definitely make a decent stack here, and their prices are pretty cheap. And then on the Mets have a good bullpen though, so I mean that's their ERA is under 3. So hopefully, if you do target against Hauser, that they get all the runs out early, and when the bullpen comes, when they're far enough ahead that you don't need to worry about getting more runs after that. And the Mets, I think, are definitely in play against Browns, so I think offensively they're a decent option for GPP. San Francisco and Boston. You have the wind blowing out here at 8 miles per hour, 67. So it's not blazing hot like Baltimore, but it's not like 40s. So it should be a nice day for baseball. You have Kyle Harrison and Josh Wiskowski. Harrison, I think, is in play here. He's been up and down to start the season. The 409 ERA. Let's see here. His last start out against Pittsburgh was really good. Like he went 6 innings, 7 strikeouts, no runs, only 5 hits. But and he seems to make it pretty deep, like 5 or 6. So he's definitely in play here. 4 to 5 strikeouts for the upside of like 7 or 8. So somebody in the mid range there that you could potentially bet. I really like the Boston offense, so I don't know how much I'm going to pay. This game is a 9.5. That's almost a worse total. So I know wind out in Boston really helps things, but 67 degrees. I don't know. I might bet the under on this one too. I'm sure there'll be runs, but I don't know if we'll get to 9. Especially maybe on the San Francisco side. But Wisnowski has been a bad pitcher, so maybe that's where they're going with that one for San Francisco. So, but San Francisco the other night we thought was a great spot in Boston with the wind blowing out and laid an egg. So they made a marginal pitcher look really good. So we'll have to see how that one plays out. So I think both sides are in play here. Definitely for Boston, probably my second favorite stack on the slate, and San Francisco definitely has some cheap bats here. The most expensive one is going to be Soler at 4.5, and I think you can take either side of the plate against Wisnowski there if you're stacking it. The final game early on is Washington and Texas. You have Mitchell Parker and Evaldi. Parker again, I think, is another one that he's priced at 87. He's a young talent. He has a 1.69 ERA to start with. And his first start against the Dodgers wasn't bad. He was 4K. He went out there, he got the win. He went 5 innings, gave up 2 runs, and had 4Ks. Then he came out against Houston. Houston doesn't strike out at all. And he was priced up to 7,200. He went 7 innings, didn't give up any runs, only 3 hits, and had 8 strikeouts. Then he went out against the Marlins, which you think smashed by here. It only lasted 4. He gave up 6 hits, 1 earned run, walked a couple, only had 2 strikeouts. So he's intriguing here. I have him as a GPP as like one of the pay up ones. Again, I just don't know. I guess in the context of slate, that's why he's priced at 87. But if this was a 12 game slate, I'm sure he'd be like 73 or something. So, and the Rangers have a really good offense and the highest total on the board. So I think this is the ultimate sleeper here. boom or bust play. Either he goes out there and he struggles, or he goes out there and Houston, the guy that faced Houston comes out there and he does get some strikeouts and looks really good here. But again, I think that's more of a GPP play than a cash play because I don't really feel on the floor. Eovaldi on the other side against the Nationals, even though the Nationals, can be pesky at times. I think Eovaldi should go out there and have a very successful day. So he's my second favorite pitcher on the slate. Bat wise, Texas is my favorite stack here, and then both Nationals I think would be leveraged because I think Eovaldi. So what are we going to do here? So here's what I'm proposing. I'm going to use the top two pitchers. I'm just going to look for the floor there in my cash games. Give me Eovaldi, give me Cabrera. Like the matchups, they're solid pitchers, and I think that they should be able to go out there. I don't see any red flags in this forecast. So give me the top two pitchers. I'm going to try to get my points in. So then give me Boston as my primary stack here, the righties. I can get up to O'Neill. Reese Snyder's cheap. Wong's cheap. Cooper should be making his debut. They traded for him for cash considerations for the Cubs. He is really good against the lefty, so he should be in the lineup there. And Dahlbeck is free. He's a free square here. He's a righty who has power against a lefty, and he's only 2.2K. And then Short, I wouldn't play. He's not having a really good season. But don't forget about Rafaela at the bottom. He can play outfield or shortstop, and he's only 3K, and I have him in my shortstop in my build. Then I'm filling in with Texas righties. So give me Simeon, give me Garcia. You could go Jaime Catcher. Langford's in play here. Wenzel, if you need a cheap third baseman at 2.2K. Taveras has some speed and could be a nice wraparound candidate there. So that's where I'm going for cash. For GPP, I'm going to take a shot at him. I don't know why I auto-corrected that to Radish. Okay. And then I'm going to take some of the right-handed batters against Rendon in this really good hitting environment here. So if you get, I have Happ at shortstop. If you want to, if you can get to Gunnar Henderson, that's fine. Um, but a lefty and lefty, he's one of the best players in Major League Baseball. But 6.2 with lefty and lefty, I don't really. Rendon's been good against lefties, so I don't really want to go there. But Rushman's been consistent. Mountcastle hits lefties pretty well. So I think those are the two pieces that I want there. Then I'm going to fill one of the Cubs. The Cubs have some cheap pieces also. Troy Anderson's cheap. Gomes at catcher is cheap if Rushman's on the lineup. Mervis is, and remember, Hauser, both sides of the plate are hitting him. So maybe this is the time for Mervis, who they just called up, who's a huge prospect to get going. He's only 2.2K. You could put him at first base over Rushman if you need to save some money there. So lots of different ways to go. Cubs, but again, I like the Mets. I like San Francisco. The Yankees are in a good hitting spot too. So there's lots of ways to go with the bats. But pitching, I think I want to pay up in cash and take a shot on Bradish, and maybe I'll have a Parker lineup out there. But not trusting Wisconsin. Harrison, maybe a GPP. Brown, I'll have some potentially as an SP2. Hauser, I'm not touching. Rendon, I don't think I'm playing against. Baltimore. Lambert, I'm not touching. So that's what I got for you. If you have a question, you can put in the chat below or hit me up on X, formerly Twitter. Megaro31 is my handle. If these videos help you, please like, subscribe to our channel, and share with friends. And then if you want a chance to, we have some other videos out there, PGAs out there. We got, soccer Charlie will have for the weekend. So subscribe to the channel. You never know when the videos are coming out that could be really helpful to you. So thanks for watching. If you have an amazing Wednesday, go look in your contest. Remember, they start at 12:10 p.m. Eastern time. It's early today. I'll see you next time.